All right, Kevin A. Davis over at Ink Pub, and tonight we have some, yes, and I will go ahead and change the chat settings. So I will go ahead and go around and just ask everyone as we go along, sort of what you're up to, any big news, any project you're working on that you want to chat about, and I'm going to go into the chat right now and set the settings so that everyone can share with everyone. Yay, thank you, Monica, for letting me know that. All right, so speaking of, I am going to start with Monica. She was first on my list. Yay. Monica, what's up? What are you up to? Anything that you want to chat about and let us know?
Sure. Um, my name's Monica. I'm a Texas writer, and it's really exciting because although I've been writing since 2019, I just had the first, my first short stories published this year. I've gotten seven of them, and I have a few more coming out. I have the very first werewolf story I ever wrote, and it's coming out in July in Blood Moon Rising. And then I have this one coming out, and I'm working on some stuff, but I haven't gotten any of my longer works done. I also just became the secretary for the HWA Texas chapter, and that's really exciting because they've wanted to have one for a really long time. And the other thing that I do is I really love urban legends. So on my Facebook and Instagram, every week on Fridays, I put up something about a new urban legend or cryptid, and I just write about my personal take on it. And it's called Emily's Legend of the Week.
Nice, nice. So drop that in the
And
chat if you can. So you probably already did. Um,
I will.
and then this way people can run over there and check it. Jumping around to each other and chatting on each other's stuff helps with the visibility and helps readers recognize that hey, there's activity over there. I should go follow that person. So great stuff. Appreciate it, Emily. Thank you, Monica. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Alex, what's up? What are you up to?
Uh, hi everyone. So yeah, my name's Alex Tucker. I grew up in the mountains of Virginia, southwestern Virginia. Went to school there, Virginia Tech. Was an engineer for a long time, but now the last couple of years, 2.5 years, I've been really getting more serious about writing, trying dabbling with that at least full time and see how it goes. But it's been fortunate in so far. I had my first book come out last year, a novella called Afraid to Feel, um, and yeah, so that's out there, and that was came out last August. I'll have a novel coming out early next year as well, TBA on that that I'm excited about. And a lot of short stories and various stuff. You can see some of it. My Instagram is where I'm most active. I do have an author page on Facebook as well, and I have a threads that I try to post something random here and there. It's kind of hard, but yeah, but it's been a fun journey so far. Yeah, and excited about my story coming up with Inked Pub for sure, and I got a few others coming out this year as well. And current projects, I actually just as of so it's morning here. I didn't mention that I'm living in Japan right now temporarily, but moving back to the states this summer. Uh, but so yeah, it's my morning here. But last night I finished up my fifth book. It's a novel of around a little over 70,000 pages, and so that is calling it done, ready to start putting it out there into the world. So that's exciting. So yeah, that's what I got going on.
Yeah,
But anyway, yeah, it's nice to meet everybody.
yeah. On the interview, we were talking about that you were getting close to that book and what you were coming up
Yeah,
next with and everything. So that's nice to hear that you closed that deal and got it done, got the end on it, and now all the edits, right?
yep, yep.
All right. Thank you, Alex. Dave, what's up?
I guess that would be me. Hello, everyone. I'm in Colorado, Broomfield, north of Denver. I'll try to abbreviate this because Kevin's heard it a few times. I'm
Well,
approaching retirement. I'm a cybersecurity engineer.
let them all know.
And oh, okay. And I've been writing since during high school, and I graduated 50 years ago this May. So I have a cache of stories that goes back that far. And this last year is when I decided to dig them out and actually see if I could do something with them. It just never occurred to me before. So I have a collection of short stories that are published, they're self published through KDP, called Signals from the Edge. And I have a novel out called The Glass Child, and I work on short stories. I'm editing short stories that I've written before. I'm creating new ones, especially when ink comes out with a call. I usually have to come up with something new, and so I try to do that. And today I'm working on a novella that I found that goes back to when I used to work in law enforcement. I've been a police officer and a deputy sheriff, but I also worked in communications and systems administration in a dispatch center, and I've come out with I found an old story from when I wrote from that time called Dead Dispatch. And I'm finishing it up and looking into the idea of just going ahead and publishing that as a novella, but I've never done that before, so it's an area I'm exploring. Uh, I have a novel, a horror Western novel that I've been working on for a while now. I'm just trying to get it to hit that right note, or it would have been published by now, so I'm editing it. And that's where I'm at.
You got a lot going on over there.
Can you hear the dog?
No, I can't.
Okay,
Zoom is pretty good actually about taking away like coughs now, cats meows, dog barking. You know,
nice.
people would be like, I can't even hear you because my dog's barking so loud right here. We can't hear it. So Zoom's got
Good, good.
some craft on that. So we're good. All right,
This
thank
is
you.
when he's decided to be vocal.
All
Thank
right,
you.
thank you. Darren, what you up to?
Hello, everyone. My name is Darren Littman. I am a high school math teacher and author in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I've had a couple stories with Inked Pub. First, Jungle Juice in Yay All Queer, and then Eros and the Errant Arrow in Yay All Queer, Free and Queer. So I hope you've checked those out, and if you haven't, they're great anthologies. My latest story is coming out in Tentacles and Tides this week from Opal Kingdom Press. I'll share their website in the chat. I'm really excited about this story as well. It's a science fiction search for life on one of Jupiter's moons. So I'm really excited to share that. I'm currently up to pursuing an MFA through Western Colorado University, finishing my first year this summer. And then I'll be working on some longer form pieces with the hope of getting some novels out there.
Nice. Yeah, Darren,
Thank you.
we get a lot of Western University people.
There's a lot of overlap between Superstars and Western Colorado University.
right, right. But I've seen names that I've only seen from Western, you know, instead of at Superstars. So when they were at Superstars last year, I thanked them for all the fresh stories coming out from them. I really appreciated that. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
let them know I always
It's a
appreciate.
great program.
And that's what I've heard. And if you guys don't know, Kevin J. Anderson runs Darren, tell them a little bit about it, just in case someone's interested in online.
Yeah, so Western Colorado University has a number of creative writing master's degrees. Kevin J. Anderson runs their publishing program, which is a 1 year master's degree. I'm actually in their genre fiction program, which is a 2 year
Okay,
MFA.
okay. But yeah, it's one of the things that, we're always looking at is there something new I want to try, and this is a great area.
Yeah,
So
they have amazing professors, and it really is a very supportive community.
good, good. All right. So Mike, what are you up to?
Hey everyone, Mike Rusetsky here. So I'm talking to you from Columbus, Ohio, originally from Ukraine. And yeah, so I've loved working with Kevin and with Inked Pub for the last about a year and a half on several projects. So I know we've got it coming out here soon as Non-Corporeal 4, and my story, the siblings by the fireplace there. Um, and then so I'm kind of tend towards either horror or sci-fi. If it's horror, sometimes it's tinged with humor. Nothing too dark. If it's sci-fi, it's probably softer sci-fi, more about, humanity and feelings and than hard detail. But yeah, a little bit of fantasy as well. But yeah, lately, let's see. Yesterday, I was excited about this. I had a story get released by in the Brussels Review, which is a little more of a like a literary fiction story about a kind of a girl, a high school girl deciding at a career fair which direction in life to take, and then really about her special relationship with her grandma and how there's always kind of more options than you think. And so sometime once in a while I put out a wholesome one like that. Um, but yeah, let's see. I'm excited about one though that's coming out in May. This is I've done a number of anthologies and kind of magazines, but nothing under my own kind of name, as a single publication. So I'm excited. This Australian publisher, Black Hair Press, is putting out a my short novella, uh, Max Demons Slade LLC. Um, so I'm excited about that. It's about a brother and sister duo, kind of who have some superpowers after this cataclysmic world event where portals open up in the sky and demons drop down and kind of wreak havoc. So they open up a business to, help hunt them down. And it's kind of comedic a little bit with some danger, um, in there. So probably now that I'm thinking about it, pretty inspired by the Ghostbusters movies that I loved as a kid. So the danger has to be real, but the characters are quirky and fun. So, but yeah, so I'm excited about that, and excited to, for my future with Inked Pub and beyond. So I'm glad to be here.
Yep, glad to have you here. So you've been sort of exploding with stories um, for the last couple of years, haven't you?
Today I got my 41st story acceptance.
Nice.
And I've only started putting in stories about 2 years ago. So yeah, I'm playing the numbers because I this year I set this crazy goal of submitting a story a day, every year, every day of the year, and it's it's exhausting. So I'm reneging on that goal.
And do you have that big spreadsheet going on that you know where everything is?
I do. Yeah, I'm a big spreadsheet nerd.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's overwhelming, but I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things I've been, because of this, I've been doing much less of trying to get stuff up. But every once in a while, I'll get a little spurt, and I'll be like, "All right, we'll try this, and send them out." And then I have to mark them down because it'll be like 4 months, and I'll be like, I'll suddenly get a rejection, and I'm like, "Did I send something out?" And so I've been, you know, um, paying attention to that less, which is fine. But I did enjoy it when I was doing it because when you get something in, it was always like a real ding. You could feel a little bell ring off somewhere, so it was always exciting. All right, Jezza, what you up to? What's the
I'm
news?
Jessa from New Jersey, now in Florida, trying to stay away from the cold, but it just ain't working. What am I up to? I'm up to God, I've got my hands in so many different things. I'm working on a upcoming story, a remake, should I say?
Yep,
Is that what you would call it, Kevin?
yep.
A remake.
An
I'm
expansion.
working on an expansion. I'm working on something for Galilea because I write for them too. I am reworking my children's book into one big colossal bedtime story. I got so much going on. I actually was thinking about as you were talking about that spreadsheet, because I have one too, and it's so lost. It's everywhere. because I've been going through and cleaning out stories that I've submitted and that were accepted. So I'm taking them out because I refuse to submit them anywhere else. So I got this whole list of stories that are just sitting there. And I'm like, what do I do with these? So I've been working on that, cleaning up my computer. I got one in the Brussels reviews too, Mike. They're heartwarming series. So that's basically it. I'm just a big ball of chaos.
Well,
Take it away, Kevin.
those reprints can be, there's definitely places for those, and they, you can make money. In fact, sometimes it's almost easier with reprints, um, because they know they've sort of already vetted, and they're, it depends on the place and the money and what they're doing, but I know people who make a pretty good living off of just that. Short stories are hard to make a living off of, but writing as a whole is hard to make a living off of. So what am I saying? But anyway, so sometimes those shorts can just become a reprint and they have a home. All right, Al, what you up to, Al?
I'm here. So I think I'm the first Canadian on the block here today. So I'm a transplanted prairie boy from Calgary, home of the Stampede, to Vancouver Island, home of a beautiful Mediterranean climate and no snow. Um, I write in genres, and I write short fiction and I write novels. So getting a spot in an anthology like Rebels is great, not just for the acceptance, which is appreciated, but the exposure that, I'm constantly looking through anthologies and magazines, and when I see something that really resonates, I wonder, okay, what else has this person written? So my last two novels are a fantasy novel, Barnaby's Luck. I don't know if you can see that. It's not blurred, is it? And a mystery, Feet of Clay. Have a nice trip.
Yep.
And I currently have a story in Alfred Hitchcock's Mystery Magazine, which is out in the e-version, but their printing is, since they changed owners, is slightly off schedule. So I don't imagine it'll be on the stands till May. And Rebels, obviously, so that's great. I'm envious of the people who are doing their MFAs in writing fiction. Yeah, you only jumpstart me by about 30 years of trial and error. And yeah, I have a giant spreadsheet and for submission, and I also duplicate that with little 3 by 5 inch file cards. Uh, when what I've sent out and when I sent it and when I expect to hear back. I probably got 41 acceptances all told, and that's in a few decades. So yeah, Mike, you're way your odds are way out in front. Um, yeah, so that's it. I currently I'm working on a couple of pieces. The third mystery novel, straight mystery novel in the Feet of Clay series. I've just started the first draft. I'm about 20,000 words in and waiting to hear back from my wonderful publisher in Texas, Cursed Dragon Press, about book two of my fantasy trilogy. And I'm working on book three, just finished critiquing it with my online writers group this week, actually. So, yeah, lots of work ahead to get it up and acceptable. And as a retired earth scientist, I also write a lot of hard science fiction. So I just enjoy, it's my daily routine. Gotta write every day. I'm not a binge writer, but even if it's a scene or a couple of pages, it gets me to the end sooner or later. So yeah, looking forward to the Rebels launch and hope it goes well.
Yep. Thank you, Al. I appreciate it. Yeah, I was just with Al today because um, and I understand Canada's very got a lot of rural spots, so their postal service has to deal with the fact that they're not just dealing to a city. Some of the postal has to get flown to spots.
Oh,
But they congregate, they all of their mail cost is under one big umbrella. So you want to ship a book to Canada, and sometimes they're looking at like $25, depending on the
yeah,
price. And like,
yeah.
so Al was trying to get something off of Amazon, kind of thing, and they'll kill you. So we were able to get a price so you could get some author copies, but it was like, it is it is so difficult sometimes dealing in Canada. The prices change. I think
It's
they
well,
fluctuate.
and they're putting, and I don't know how this will work, but the Canadian government has also put tariffs on books coming in from the US just as retaliation.
Yeah,
So yeah, but even before all that, it's nuts. I can order, a collectible book through Abe from England, and it's about $4 to mail it. If I order it from another city in Canada, it's 20.
yeah,
So and if you order stuff from China, of course, it's a buck. So it's
yeah,
maybe exaggerating, but yeah, it does not make a lot of sense sometimes.
yeah. So I've learned that when I'm doing the Kickstarters, I price up the postage pretty high because I've been burnt a couple times where I'm going to ship and all of a sudden it's like, oh no, it's $25 to ship this,
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, when did that flip? But it changes, and I can imagine they have again because it is so rural. It isn't like I'm just going from here to
Yeah. Well,
Montreal.
we're a country that's 100 miles wide and 4,000 miles long.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's all about shipping.
yeah. So anyway, we got Al taken care of today, and that was good on my
Yes.
ticker. So I was happy. Thank you, Al.
Thank
Um, all right, John, what are you up to?
Sorry, I'm getting on my audio. How's everybody doing?
Good.
I think this is the first time I've ever done one of these. Are they pretty frequent or so?
Um, Sarah, Jordan Hines was pushing me for the longest time to do more of them because when I was saying initially, I did these as Kickstarter perks, and the Kickstarter patrons didn't care. So we got
Mhm.
together and we had fun as authors, just talking. And sometimes we'd get in, someone would post it on their thing, and a friend would come and they'd get to listen. But generally, it ends up being just us. Um, because anthologies don't have quite the same following. People are into them or they're not at the moment, but they're not like there's very few people that are hugely into it, and so they don't really know who the authors are going to be, so they weren't really showing up. So that's when we started it, and then when I was saying I was going to drop it, Sarah was like, "Can we just do one as a you know outside of the Zoom?" And I'm like, "Sure." So I did one, and it worked pretty well. And then we did, and she came by a little while later and tapped on my shoulder and said, "Can we do another one?" And I'm like, "Okay." So now we're
Nice.
just sort of doing them. I'm trying to keep them like 6, 8 weeks and pop it up there, and it gives us a chance to sort of meet. And who knows, we may end up bumping against each other at conventions, but now we know each other's faces. You may remember a name and then go look up their bio and, go, talk to them and say, you were doing, this, what's this, this review that you get in. So that's when we started making them more common.
Okay. Uh, that sounds great. I'm learning all about this. Now, I was a columnist for many years. I've been writing columns since 2004, and I had some even before then. I've been in journalism. I'm a professor, political science, but I had not written any fiction until the pandemic. So I'm one of y'all are like, oh, you're one of those. I've been writing long before that. But no, I started writing fiction for the first time over the pandemic. Worked on a novel because I didn't realize you were supposed to write short stories first. But nevertheless, got some people interested in it, and I'm just posting in the chat, uh, a little link to it so you can see more about it. And it was a lot of fun. Now, I only did it just to get people, I just thought like, okay, this will be something to do. I can like dust it off the shelves. I can look at it. I'll print it out at Staples and have it in a binder. Well, then I really liked it. I was like, oh, this is kind of good. And, some people said you ought to like try and submit it somewhere. So I did that, and it finally got published last year.
Nice.
The follow-on is under the follow-on's under traditional contract, so not hybrid, and it'll come out in August. And well, the first one is about evil product placement, and it's a thriller. That's the genre, but it's evil product placement, manipulation of the media, and dark academia.
Nice. Nice.
So, if you can imagine something that puts all those together. The second, and it's based on how many times you find yourself like going through and you're like, I feel like this is more of a commercial than a news broadcast, or I feel like somebody's pitching something to me, all the time. And there's more about the product. Like, for example, how many of you, raise your hands, remember the O.J. Simpson slow speed chase? Okay, everybody's got the hand, even if you don't know how it was done. Okay, hardly anyone can name who was in the vehicle besides O.J. Simpson or what. Maybe they don't know what team he played for. But how many of you remember what was the vehicle that was in the slow speed chase?
It was white.
And it was, yeah, pretty much.
Bronco,
I
yeah.
can read your voice, Al, the white Ford Bronco. Well, believe it or not, Ford was getting rid of the Bronco. They were going to phase it out completely. They'd already made that decision, but those things sold like hotcakes. So they kept it around for a good long time. And they brought it back recently because of all the O.J. Simpson documentaries. Now, here's the what if. What if you had a firm that helped their clients, or take money and help their clients by manufacturing such events and having the news media focus on products that are involved, as
Nice.
if they were hyping the white Ford Bronco rather than anything else.
Nice. Nice.
And so I enjoyed doing that. I didn't mean to write short stories. I was working on the third novel, and one of my cats knocked the laptop off, and the laptop wasn't working very well. So while it was being fixed for a good long time, people said, well, why'd you write short stories while you're waiting? And I was like, I don't want to do short stories. I wrote novels. And then I found myself, I had to see a repeat of a seminar on a green cemetery. And I'd already seen this pitch before. And I was like, would it be more fun if it were an evil green cemetery? Like environmentalists burying people who desecrate the environment in their opinion. I thought that would be fun. And so I wrote that as a short story. It got accepted, and I started writing a few more. So happy to be part of the Ink Publishing Hidden Villains duos.
Good. Looking forward to seeing more. It's one of the fun things about doing this many anthologies. I mean,
Mhm.
we're almost up to what was it? I think I counted 67 um
Ooh.
stories or authors just in 2026.
Oh,
So
wow.
and that's part of it. I love having, people back, but I love getting new as well, because part of this all started because I wanted to, in discussions with Dave Farland and that whole group, the markets that they had originally, there was very few of them that were decent writers sending out to a
Mhm.
lot of magazines. So they were all getting, there was a lot of availability for good stories to find places. And then we fast forward to now, and um, there are less places for stories to find homes. Um,
Mhm.
and that's sort of, so that was my discussion with him, was sort of like, um, would you think it would be stupid to do an anthology, and give a place for, writers to, find new, homes and that kind of stuff. And he's like, do it, just do it. So he was the first anthology, Hidden Villains. Dave Farland was the lead author. And the bad part of the story is, right before the proof went out, he died. So he knew all about it because we were talking about it all the time, um, and prepping for it. But he had a couple problems, and then he passed away. So he never got to see it completed. So you'll often see in a lot of the dedications, there usually be a mention of Dave Farland, just because he was instrumental in making Ink Pub do the anthologies. While I was already busy writing and making my stuff that I was getting ready to start publishing, Ink Pub started because of the anthology bit. And so my goal this year is to, publish more authors and more stories than we did last year. And now novels as well. So all that's going well. But that was sort of how we started. Was we just there needs to be more opportunity for us with our big lists and our rejection notices and our acceptance notices, places to put our stuff that, gives us different opportunities. I love writing. When I write short stories, it's usually because I have an idea that's outside of my normal, what I make money on. What I make money on is my DRC files, and adding to those, adding a new series, thing, a new launch on one of those will, boost the whole series and bring more money in, which is the goal, right? But sometimes you just want to write, a weird little horror that, just doesn't fit within your fellowship, the people who are watching for your new books. It just doesn't fit them. So, but a short story, nobody cares. They don't know who you are. So they read your short story and go, yay or nay, and, I've gotten some good, compliments and feedbacks from people messaging me or emailing me about some random story. I do a lot of charities that I like doing, and I'll get some comment. I'm like, that was sweet. Thank you. Probably still not going to jump into, trying to beat out Grady Hendrix with a newest horror series, but I right now I'm comfortable where I am. Anyway, thank you guys for coming out. Any questions for each other or anything that you wanted to jump on? I see
I
Mike.
had a quick one. Who was it who had a recent story published for in Alfred Hitchcock's mystery magazine? Al, yeah. Did it? Have been waiting for a response from them for about a year and 2 months on one. How long did it take you to hear back from them?
That one was at least a year, I think, Mike. And I've sent a couple of others in since that one was accepted. And again, they are known for a very, very long time scale. So yeah, the thing about them, I think, according to Submission Grinder, they do accept simultaneous submissions. So if you send one, you can send out to other markets who also accept simultaneous submissions while you're waiting. But they were very, very nice to deal with. There was since the changeover in ownership, the editorial staff has stayed consistent, and dealing with Analog was the same. And a lot of their non-editorial staff are shared. So once you're talking to so-and-so in, the payment end, that's the same person you'll be talking to for any one of their other 4 magazines. So yeah, you're not being slow rolled.
It's a long time to get rejected. So 14 months so far. So I'm like, just waiting for it.
Dave?
But thank you.
Yeah, I was going to ask Al the same question. I've got one that's been there since May. And I've heard through the grapevine that the longer they take, the more likely they'll accept it. And they're just looking for a place to put it. But I don't know how true that is because it was my first. I was a watcher of Alfred Hitchcock's mystery TV show back in the day when I was growing up. And so I just had to hit them up. And so I did. And so, yeah, Al, thanks for that. I appreciate that. Mike, so we'll just wait, I guess. I got one accepted at Analog and it took 4 months. So I thought their turnaround was pretty good. But as I understand it, they're all under the same group now or the same ownership. Them, Ellery Queen, Asimov. So, okay, if we have to wait, we have to wait. No news is good news sometimes.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kevin.
Monica?
I'm, even though I'm fairly new at writing, I'm kind of, I worked for a long time in accounting, so I'm way past middle aged. I have a novella that I have finished writing, had a few people beta read it and everything. Anybody have any suggestions where I should try to get it published? Because I'm not sure. I know what to do with novels and I know what to do with short stories, but I'm not really sure because of my inexperience what to do with novellas.
Go ahead. Anybody got an answer? Speak up.
Yeah. Are you on Authors Publish?
Yes,
Okay,
I
that's the one place I've seen like novellas and stuff where they'll have a call for them occasionally. Are you on Submittable or Duosoma?
not really. I do a lot
Okay.
of my own research.
Uh, you might want to try both of those and just do a search just to see which one's looking for novellas.
If you would
Thank
drop the links, because submit Grinder, Submission Grinder, Duosumo, all of them, just so that Monica can grab those and pop those open in a window. I find those real easy. With they're not necessarily if you're looking for novella, you'll say, I want novella size, but when you get to the site, their idea of a novella may differ from the general group of what Submission Grinder says is novellas. So if you still have work to do, but it thins out the field for you so that you can find places that are looking for horror and novella. Um, so if you got links or if you can pull those up. I have a whole tab that I keep on Google that are just for those search engines because and I subscribe to Publishers Weekly, and Duotrope, because we were using them to get submissions in. We no longer need that. We're behind the shadows is well over 200 submissions, and I am burning through readers on my side, but they like horror, but it's still a lot to read. So we are we are getting close because we start now. We used to wait until the end of the submissions. We start in the beginning because when you get 200 of them and you only have a few of us, um, you got to get through those um, in some way. So these kind of engines are great to search, but just don't look at them all because everyone's, I may say we take short stories, and if someone wants to send me 1,000 words, and I'm like, that's too short.
Mhm.
And someone else is like, but that's still a short story. I'm like, I'm not going to argue. It's just what we have for submissions. Um, and the novella is the same. If someone's looking for a novella, I have an anthology, a charity I do every year that I send off to, and they take one novella along with their shorts. So you might find that. So they're putting all the good links in there. I hope you're clicking on those before we.
I'm getting them and I
Okay.
really appreciate it.
Yeah, that's
I
what I
had
love about
said
this.
earlier that I'm just now starting to get stuff published, and it's because I had a writer take me under his wing and show me how to get my short stories published. So I really appreciate it, and when I get to where I'm better at it, I plan to help other writers too.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Monica, there's if if you start, what I do is I follow a lot of publishers on their social media, and they will like cool ones, ones where you think like, okay, it would be great if they went from one of my, and even if they don't have a submission call right now, they will blast it all over their social media, all over Facebook, Instagram, whatever. And usually someone will have like every 6 months they'll open for a submission call. Something like Crystal Lake Press, they're in South Africa, but they're a very highly respected publisher of horror. So if that's what you write, follow little niche ones like that, and kind of see, because they'll let you know when they're taking and what they're taking. And novellas, I do see a call for novellas quite often, but it's spotty, here and there. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Mhm.
I really appreciate it. Thank you all so much.
I was gonna throw out one too. I was gonna mention what Mike just mentioned there. Following is a good way to do it with all the publishers, but one that published my novella last year is called Alien Buddha Press, which is kind of a funny name. It's a very small press. It really does. It's like one guy who runs it, and it's pretty much exclusively through Amazon distribution. But he is really good about just pumping out a lot of novellas, chapbooks, a lot of poetry books, and it seems to be a mix of genres too. The novellas seem to be a lot of horror, but a little bit of everything in the other stuff. But easy to work with, and yeah, a good way to get something out there.
Thank you.
See, we all learn from this stuff. I have my critique. I have 3 critique groups a month. One's weekly and 2 are weekly and one's monthly, but 3 different groups that I've met from Dragon Con, Jody Lindai's workshop, from Jordan Con, from Superstars, that I've grabbed it, and we're all doing different stuff, so we bump these ideas off each other, and eventually we find stuff. So I love getting authors together for that kind of stuff. It's just obviously, when we have 5 of us doing 7,000 words each on a monthly basis, that means you have to read, about almost 30,000 words to be, as part of it. So you can only do so many of them. But it's great to get together and just chat about things. But all right, anything else before I call it? All right. Well,
I do have a request. All of you successful novelists, obviously marketing your book is a big thing. What kind of strategies have you found have been pretty successful? Because everyone kept saying book talk, but it sounds like it's so flooded the market with everyone that no one could really follow it as much. Do y'all have any other suggestions?
Genre matters.
One thing I'll share that I've learned recently, I learned this through my publisher that my novel's coming out later this year or early next year that I mentioned. They sent me this like tutorial, just like a YouTube video or something about how to. This was at least for Instagram and for TikTok a little bit too, but mostly, at least that's where I spend most of my time, is Instagram. It was about catering or like really fine tuning your algorithm to match what you're trying to market. If that makes sense. It's like one of those things that I never really thought about. But basically, what you do is if you're on Instagram, at least, you go through like your explore button that shows just a bunch of reels and posts that kind of page through, and you just spend a little bit of time every day. Like I spend like maybe 5 minutes every day just kind of looking through it and try to get rid of the stuff that has nothing to do with what you're trying to sell. So for instance, for me, I don't have a separate Instagram page. It's kind of the one I've always had personally, and so I've kind of adapted it. And so it might all of a sudden send me something funny that's like or like have something in there for like Always Sunny in Philadelphia, because one of my friends sent me a reel from that show, and I'm like, nope, I have to. So what you do is you just hit like not interested, and it'll take it out of there, and you can even go and see specific stuff and say, I'm not interested in this, but I am interested in that. Books, horror, mystery, whatever your genre is, that kind of stuff. It's a little bit of work, but I've found that it helps with my viewership quite a bit, because you can go and see in your like statistics how much of your viewership is people you already follow or who follow you versus non-followers. And since I've been doing that, the percentage of non-followers has really gone up. I'm still trying to figure out the how to get more followers of those people who are not following to start following me. I think that's just hitting the right moment when something goes, really crazy, one of your posts or reels. But anyway, that's just something I've learned.
There's a guy out over across the pond who does a lot of free tutorials on and keeps very up to date. So I just posted him, David Gagron, in there. And there's a bunch of people out there that'll sell you $267 courses. And he just gives stuff away as much as possible. He is doing it himself, so he's talking about it. And this is part of, he does sell books that discuss this, but you don't have to buy them. Half the time he'll tell you it's in here. What I'm telling you is in here. Good on right now. I make the most money off of series. So, my first book, I spent a lot of money to just have it out there. The second book, I don't have to advertise because the first book's pulling that load. So then I just have to, polish it and give it a good look. And by the time I get to the third or fourth book, I can give away the first book and pay BookBub to make a deal for me. They'll give away 6,000 of my books. Okay. At the same time, I reduced book 2 to 99 cents. And I just released book 7. So what'll happen is that whole swell will, I'll forget to even go look. I end up with all these first in some category series tag because I forgot to go look. And the tag is there when I'm now 51st in the grouping werewolf mysteries. I was at werewolf mysteries the other day and I'm like, oh, that was cute. I should have been looking. But what happens is all of it swells. Okay, so I give away a bunch free of the first book. If they liked it, they might review and read the second book. Often people will see free book, 99-cent book, and they'll take both. So I make all of these sales on the 99 cents. If I've hooked them, I get the read through, which will last for weeks. And so you'll see a swell. It'll do this. So I publish one DRC every year. And I'm working on the other things, and I get this swell as I do so. Part of that information, that strategy, came from David Gagron. So he's paying attention to the fact that no longer, right now, they've extended the period of time where Amazon identifies. They used to identify your series, and it would carry your whole series up to visibility. The whole goal is getting Amazon to show your book out to people. Okay, and you pay them to do so, but still they need to believe that it's a product worth selling. So getting them to see this long extended tail makes them rise you in their rankings all across your series, and suddenly you're being shown all over the place. And so you're getting this sale afterwards for the money you spent initially to give away a damn book. So anyway, that's the one that I'm using, one of the ones he does. But there used to be this, if rapid release was a big deal, it no longer is. And this is the problem: is you can't just watch a tutorial and then sit on it for 5 years. It's like, and that's what I like about David. Will literally email us and tell us, here's some changes that you should notice about Amazon. Like right now, we're having a huge argument with them that are, since they've added some new wonderfully AI algorithms, we're getting less reviews, and our reviews aren't showing, and we're getting less reporting on Kindle, our Kindle reads and Kindle purchases. And they finally just admitted, yeah, we got a problem, but when we get it fixed, it'll all show, which is really great when you're already waiting 9 months for your income. Okay, is that, checks in the mail. Don't worry. We're a trustworthy company. You don't have to worry about us. So those kind of things are important to keep up with if you intend to go that way. And Alex is talking algorithms, which is huge, which is why I do like Pages, because it'll show my kind of stuff to the right people, instead of, if you go to my personal page, all I want to talk about is stupid dad jokes, and that is not my market. So we can't go there. So you got to have some place where you're visible to the people who want to buy your stuff, not the people who want to know your stupid dad jokes. But anyway, anybody else? Anyway, I just love David Gagron, so I have to post his stuff up there when people ask about how to market. There's a bunch of these guys out there that are good, and not charging you $600 for a workshop. Anybody else? All right, I am going to close recording out. Everybody wave. I'm not really hanging up, I'm just closing the recording.